without further ado, I'll turn the time over to our first speaker, Ms. Ivy Tarubago. Ms. Ivy is one of the director of Infosoft Consulting Corporation. She has an extensive knowledge of ERP solution whose expertise are on streamlining various industries' operations. To start, let me call on Ms. Ivy to start her presentation.
Thank you, Jason, for that wonderful introduction. And before anything else, I'm gonna introduce our co-speaker for today. He has been in the business of analytics and business intelligence across the Asia Pacific region for quite a while now. He is, I can say, the one responsible in developing the Philippine solver market. We've been closely working with the very supportive, very British bloke who is also Solver APAC's channel manager. Please welcome Mr. Scott Bennett. Hey, Scott.
Wow.
Tagalog again.
Hey,
You have to, yeah.
magandang hapon.
Oh, see?
Magandang hapon.
Magandang
Good
hapon
afternoon,
too.
everyone. Thank you,
Right.
Ivy. Thank you, Jason, for the introductions. Great to be here. Looking forward to sharing some exciting solver stuff with you throughout the session.
Right. I'm also going to acknowledge some of our colleagues who are in here. Miss Marianne Sambale, which I would call oldie but goldie. Madam, can you just turn on your camera and then say hi to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're my idol, that's why.
Hello, Marianne.
Yeah, just say hi to everyone. Okay, and then we have in here Maurice Perdon. He's the business unit head for retail industry and construction industry, and is also heading the solver business. Well,
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. So we hope to gain insights on this webinar. Good afternoon.
yes. Also in attendance is Eric Palaypayan. Is also one of our business unit head for retail, and I think he's also here because he has a client here. Eric, just show your face for a bit so that they can see how good looking you are. There you go.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hello, Eric.
Hello, Scott.
And yeah, okay. So I think most of them are here except for Sep and Warren and Kid. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling. I'm just gonna turn off my camera and then share my PowerPoint presentation. So without any delay, let me walk you through the flow of presentation for today. I'll be talking about what's new with Infosoft. Then Scott will discuss who Solver is. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a demo of data warehouse and then reporting functionality. And then Scott will take over to do the budgeting and the Power BI demo. And then we wrap up the session with a Q&A. It's going to be a full session, so let's get the ball rolling. Okay. What's new with Infosoft? As most of you already know, Infosoft did a rebrand from the name Infosoft International Solutions Incorporated. We're now Infosoft Consulting Corp. It's a merger of companies in our Visayas in the Visayas area, but technically it's just the same management team. But apart from the branding or the rebranding, we also added in some solutions to our offerings. And you all know that through the years we've been a Microsoft Dynamics partner, and our main solutions were Dynamics NAV, GP or Great Plains, and we also carry Business Central. But a few years ago, we added in some solutions that we think can help your business grow. So we added in Acumatica. So Acumatica is also just like Microsoft Dynamics. It's a full suite of integrated business application. It has your usual modules like finance, it has distribution, it has manufacturing. But what's unique about Acumatica, it's unlimited users, and it's a true ERP. It's a true cloud ERP. We also added LS1, which caters to most retail processes for the small to mid-sized retail companies. And of course, I think, 2019 or earlier, we added in Solver. We included Solver in the portfolio because we saw its potential in addressing some of the major challenges that we have or we encounter during implementation of either GP or NAV. We encountered challenge which is mostly on the reporting side, and we always we always committed to look for solutions and offer solutions that can help your businesses grow. So Solver doesn't only address the reporting requirement, but it also has a very solid solution to budgeting challenges. Solver's positioning in the market is not only as a reporting solution or a reporting tool, it's also a budgeting solution, which makes it a full corporate performance management software. We also added in our ISV, or our solution for the a vertical solution for specific industries. We have real estate dimension, which caters to your real estate industry, which automates processes from property sales and financing. We also have facilities and asset dimension, which automates property management. And if companies would like assets that or asset management software that has a robust functionalities, then we have our asset dimension. And we're also into agribusiness. We have agri dimension that caters to plantation, to aquaculture, to poultry industries. And we also localize some of our solutions for taxation, for petty cash management, as well as cash fund management. Then we are, of course, I think you all know that we are a gold partner of Microsoft. We're also a gold partner of Solver, and also Acumatica. So through the years, we were consistently awarded by our principals as a testament to our dedication to help organizations find solutions to their unique business challenges. So these are the awards from Microsoft. These are the awards from Acumatica. So now on to you, Scott. Do you want to share more insights about who Solver is?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you, Ivy. Okay, well, thanks again for allowing me to participate in today's session. It's appreciated, and great to be here with Ivy and the team at Infosoft. Infosoft are our premier Solver partner in the Philippines, so it's always great to support these sessions and play a part where we can. For those of you who don't know, Solver as an organization has been around now for over 25 years. We are what's classed as a corporate performance management tool. What does that mean in English? It means that we handle financial operational reporting, advanced budgeting and forecasting, and data warehousing. So a place to basically bring in all of your enterprise-wide data. So that's the kind of tool that we're talking about today. And Solver has about 3,000 plus customers using this product across the globe. And as you'd appreciate, being around for 25 plus years, we've been able to knock up a number of industry accolades over the years, including being featured in a number of leading industry reports, being a leader on the G2 technology platform, which is a really good one because it's based on user reviews, verified user reviews, which are always interesting. And we're really proud of being able to get leadership status on the technology cloud platform, G2 platform. We're also Microsoft certified, important for everyone on the call. I understand most people are using Dynamics. Well, if you go to Microsoft App Source, you'll see us as a certified solution. And not only that, we also have preferred solution status for the D365 applications. I'm here today from virtually, of course, from Bangkok. I work in the Asia Pacific region. So as you can appreciate, a lot of customers across Southeast Asia are actively using Solver with Dynamics and other solutions. So how does this all fit together? Well, look, I don't want to spend too much time on PowerPoint because I know Ivy's got some really cool stuff she wants to get into, and I have some stuff around planning and the likes later on. But what I'll do, I'll just, in a nutshell, go through how everything fits together just so everyone's aware of what we're talking about here. So Solver is a full cloud solution. It is hosted on Microsoft Azure, and we have data centers across the globe. The central component within Solver really is our data warehouse environment. Now, when we say data warehouse, don't no one run away. We're not talking about data warehouse projects that take 12 months, a team of 10, and then another 10 to support it. This is not that product. This is a pre-built, ready to go data warehouse built using Azure SQL that can be deployed within your organization very quickly. And what this is a place to bring in all of your enterprise-wide data. Okay, and we do that using our range of connectors. So if we think about it, there's people on the call maybe using GP, NAV, maybe some BC, or potentially other solutions, Acumatica and the like. We have connectors to all of these products, certified, which allows us basically to connect our Solver data warehouse to the finance system and bring across all of the information that is needed for reporting and planning purposes. So for instance, we connect into your finance system and we'd say every hour we need to update, and we'll bring across all of that latest example, GL information, GL detail, whatever you want to bring in from your finance system. But not only that, we can bring in any data source. So it's very common for us to see people who want to bring in their third-party payroll system for planning purposes, personnel workforce automation. So guess what? We can bring in all your payroll information. Maybe you've got a client management system, CRM, that you want to bring in. We can bring that information in here as well. And we only bring in the information that is needed, but we can bring it in from any data source. So we have that being updated on an automated basis, which means we can then report off it. From a reporting perspective, for creating reports, you can create any type of report. It can look however you want it to look. And a lot on the call may be pleased to hear that we use Excel as the design layer with our Solver add-in tool. That means that you can leverage your existing Excel skill set to help you start building out reports. Yes, of course, there's a learning curve, but you're 70% of the way there if you have decent Excel skills. So what that means is you can build any report using any of your data. Okay, and you can create drill downs and drill throughs and filters and parameters. But it's worth pointing out it is only the designers, only what we call power users that interact with Excel. Everyone else across your enterprise is going to be viewing or consuming these reports via the web environment. They never have to interact with Excel. It's really only people designing and editing reports and forms that interact with Excel. Everyone just logs in via the browser. I'm going to show you this today. Accesses all the reports, does all of their analysis, etc. Not only that, we move on to planning. We can create any type of input form, right? Doesn't matter if it's top down, bottom up, expenses, personnel, budgeting, CapEx. We can create any type of form within Solver. It's created using Excel and with all of the planning process taking place via the web environment. So it can all be centralized, workflowed, tracked in real time. And all of the information that is entered as part of that whole process, as you probably guessed it, is stored back to the data warehouse. So now we have all of your actuals information on an automated basis. We have all of your planning information going in there. So what this means is you can very easily start running what-if analysis and scenario planning, more important than ever in these times. And we're going to show you a little bit of that today. Finally, while Solver's going to take care of all your formatted reporting and static dashboarding and all that kind of great stuff, if you really want to get to the stage where you want to build out advanced dashboarding or advanced visualizations, we can very easily, again, all Microsoft-centric, use our certified Power BI connector to expose all of your data warehouse information to Power BI. So you can basically just start building out your dashboards without having to worry about all of that data modeling and data set maintenance, etc. in the background. There's a lot to cover, but in a very high level, in a nutshell, that is how everything fits together. And one thing that I will just mention as well, because I know Ivy may cover it, is as part of the data warehouse, it also has a full consolidations engine. So if you're doing any complex financial consolidations within your organization, maybe things like you need to account for intercompany eliminations. Maybe you're working across multiple currencies, trading, reporting currency, minority ownership percentages. Maybe you have entities that you've acquired that are not on Dynamics yet, or Acumatica, right? We give you a full place to also run all of your financial consolidation process as well. Something to add in there. Okay, and on that note, I'll just talk quickly. Everyone, I think most people on the call, as I said, Microsoft Dynamics. So this will be of interest to you. Solver, as I said, is a preferred solution for D365. Solver also has in place a cooperation agreement, a co-dev agreement with Microsoft. You can go onto the web and see our press release from January. The idea behind this is Solver is working with the D365 team to further enhance our planning and reporting capabilities and looking to further unify that whole experience. Really, really important, especially if some people on the call are looking to, move to the D365 Business Central offering. That's going to be really important to you. Other thing to mention, we're across all industries. I know there's multiple companies here from a variety of sectors. We've got you covered. We're across all industries. I mentioned earlier 3,000 global customers. And even though we're talking a lot about D365 and stuff, we also have those connectors for those legacy Dynamics GP, NAV, on-premise systems that I know a lot of you are using. Okay, this is a little, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this is kind of a building on that a little bit more. Just shows you're in safe hands. And it talks about that January 2021 agreement that we made between Solver and Microsoft, and some of the exciting things that are on that roadmap, right? Things around rapid implementation with D365 Business Central, including marketplace for templates, even getting to the point where we, down the track, we're going to be able to have the ability to drill back from a report into certain D365 screens for further analysis. Lots of cool things happening. So I just wanted to pop that up just so you could see that there is a lot of meaningful stuff going on in the background in regards to our relationship with Microsoft and the D365 team. And very quickly, here is just a snapshot of customers across the globe. Everything from mid-market to enterprise. You can see, as I mentioned, many different industries there. Just gives you a snapshot. Some of the names you'll probably recognize. Yeah, it just gives you a broad look at the sort of customers that we are typically working with. And on that note, Ivy, that's probably enough PowerPoint from me. So I'm going to hand back to you, and I'll let you continue the session.
Okay, thanks, Scott. So for this part, I'm going to show you how Solver consolidates data from different sources, as well as how to design reports in Solver. I'll be doing a demo of the data warehouse, as well as the reporting functionality of Solver. Okay, so as Scott has mentioned a while ago, he said that Solver is a cloud solution. I'm just going to use Google Chrome to access it. So I'm going to click this link, and I'm heading to the home page of Solver. So this is the home page of Solver. It has the usual navigation pane, which groups together similar functions within the application, like the reporting function, the budgeting function, and it has this data warehouse function as well. And if you want to administer the whole tenant, you got your settings here. You kind of have to set the users, the user's access, and then their roles. So before generating a report in Solver, the first thing to do is actually to load or to upload data from your different data sources. So this can be a data from your payroll. It can be a data from your production system. It can be a data from another ERP that your mother company or other sister company or brother company is using, but wants to consolidate it into one big report. It can also be like from a CRM system or even from an Excel file. So Solver has no limits to the number of data sources it can connect to. So first, I'm going to talk about the data warehouse. I'm just going to click on the data warehouse here. I'm going to go to the integrations. Okay, this is actually the first thing that you will do when you do when you implement a system that has a data warehouse. So you go to the integration. Okay, and let's just click on a new integration. Okay. So you can see in here an integration marketplace. The connectors you see in the marketplace are divided into general connectors. You have your general connector like your CSV. You have something like your generic OData here. You have your SQL connector down there. And of course, there is an ERP specific integration that you can plug into your Solver tenant as a first step. in an implementation. But there's also this gateway connector here. Okay. Actually, this gateway connector is very much applicable to some of you who are still using on-prem data sources. So we can use this gateway connector, and this will give us additional option to connect your on-prem ERP to the Solver Cloud. So as I've said, installing a connector is just a one-time setup, and this is the first step in setting up your tenant for reporting purposes. So I'm just going to go back to my integration. Okay, and let's just examine this connector. Okay, let's just examine this this connector with a CSV1. This is a generic connector and would not require an ERP login. So let's just click on edit. So I'm just going to open this to show the integration wizard. So the data warehouse, or the setting up of data warehouse or uploading of data into the data warehouse, it's wizard driven. So if it's a wizard, it guides you through a step-by-step process. So first step is to define the details of the integration task. You put in the task name here, and you want to insert, you want to update data, or you want to combine inserting and updating of data. And you can choose to upload those data on either a dimension or a module. And the next step is to click on the task mapping. Actually, this one is setting up, or it's mapping the source field to the target field in your data warehouse. So the left side here is your data source. So these are the fields from your CSV file, from GP or NAV or BC. And at the right side, it is the corresponding fields in the data warehouse. So all you need to do is to just click on it and then map it by dragging and dropping it to the corresponding target field. So it's almost similar process when you use an XML port for NAV, for those who are familiar, or probably an integration manager or table import for GP. So you do that for purposes of uploading data into your ERP. Most of the time, it's like for beginning balances or for any data migration processes. And of course, the last step is to do task filtering. Okay, this process is where you can choose to apply additional filters to load in a specific subset of data. So, for example, you want to load certain accounts only. You can specify it here. You can specify those subsets so that only those data will be uploaded to your data warehouse. So I can just click on cancel and then go back to my integration. So this one, let's just click on a gateway connector. And once I hit run, this will schedule the integration to run or to load data on demand. So you'll be able to see the status if the integration is successful or not by seeing it in the integration option or window. Okay. Then I'm going to show you another one, which is also jobs. This is also a one way of integrating data into Solver. This is where you can actually schedule the integration to run automatically. So in integration, you can do it on demand. For jobs, you can do it to run, or you can ask jobs to run the integration automatically. So let's just examine a job. So you enter the job name, okay, and then you create a step. It's just specifying whether you wanted an integration to run or you want a rule to run. So integration, that's just uploading of data. And then rules are business rules. Like you wanted the currency to, or you wanted to automatically create currency translations. You wanted to automatically create elimination entries. Those are rules. So, but for this purpose, we just click on integration and you choose the integration that you wanted to create a job. So for instance, you can click on per hourly sales and then just click on OK. In the schedule, okay, you can set the schedule. You just have to select the date and time when this job should automatically run and set the time zone. And you can also repeat the job. You can set the frequency of the job if you want it hourly, if you want it daily, if you want it monthly. Then the next step is to actually set up a email notification options. It just says that do you want Solver to send you an email notification or not. So it's going to be, if there's a failure notification, do you want Solver to send you an email? If there's a success notification, do you want Solver to send you an email? So you just need to choose. So if you choose send email notification, you just have to define the email addresses of the intended users per notification. Okay, so you've seen a way to upload data either on demand, which is under integration, or just run it automatically. And then you can trace back each of the jobs if it was successful, it was a successful process or not under your event logs. Okay, so now that we've uploaded the data, that's the first step in creating the report. Now that we've uploaded the data, I'm going to show you the typical steps in the month-end reporting process. But I'm going to use the process manager to do that. Okay, so this process manager, let's just wait for it to load. It'll show you a group of processes that you can hear. Okay. So this is the process manager. So the process manager will detail certain tasks, or will group certain tasks for a particular process. Open it. There we go. So this is the process manager helps you organize teams' processes, and it allows you to assign it, or to assign a task to your solver users. So for this particular task, I assign it to, say, Anton, because he's probably the finance manager of one company. And I can set a deadline. You have to close, Anton, you have to close accounting period by like the end of the month, because I cannot run my exception report unless you, or until you close your accounting period. So aside from that, you can follow, or you can also add hyperlinks to specific tasks. You can add in certain websites, or you can even link the actual reports into the task. Okay. So these are the typical, or this is the template of the process for monthly reporting and analysis in Solver. So this might be very rigid, but you can follow this template, or you can modify this according to how you define your period end reporting processes. So, but for this demo, I'm not going to use the process manager. Let's make it a bit simple and easy to understand. I'm just going to go to the report templates. So I'm going to pretend that I'm a finance supervisor. Okay, and as a finance supervisor, I just do these things. I have my control reports. Okay, the control reports that I have are the reports that checks, reconciles, and probably give me an idea which among the data I need to correct or validate. I also have this financial reports, which is basically my three major financial statements. I have the balance sheet, I have the P&L or the income statement, and I have my cash flow. Okay, and finally, these are the reports that needs to be presented to the management as my final output, which I classify it as monthly analysis in this category. So now to begin, okay, you all know that I'm a finance manager, and as a finance manager, I am a power user, which means that I can create, I can edit, I can generate the reports, and I can administer this whole Solver tenant. So it's now the month end, and I need to start working on our financial statements and some operational reports. Okay, and so typically I'd analyze some control reports to know whether some accounts needs further checking. Okay, and my favorite, so I just can click on the control report, and my favorite is the exception report. So I just click on it for you to see the report, and then just click on run. Okay, so this is the exception report. It has accounts, it has a department, and as Scott has mentioned, it can the sources can be from different companies. So there is a company name here, there's a department name, there is the chart of accounts, and it has values like the actual budget, variance, and then variance percentage. But this report will actually, the main reason why this is my favorite is because this report will quickly show me which among these accounts have extraordinary variances in relation to the budget that was set. Okay, so it's just easy for me to go through the numbers. Okay, because just like your typical Excel, I can probably filter it out and then say, hey, can you show me all accounts with amounts that has more than 40% variance threshold. Then I can say, oh, so now I'm seeing that the revenue, maintenance revenue and other revenue are the outliers here. So because these are variances, or these are accounts with variances that are more than 40%. And then what I can do is I can click on comment, and then I can put in there the comment template and then apply the comment template. What it does is it attaches a comment template to the report. And I can say, please check, okay, please check if sales to company X has been booked. Okay, so I just save this one. Okay, and then once I save this, I can share this report to anyone in the solver or anyone in the solver tenant who will do the checking. So I can share this to Anton, because Anton is the finance manager of one company. And then once I share this, Anton will be able to see this report with a comment in his report archive. Okay, so I'm done with the variance, or I'm done with checking on the extraordinary variances. My next step is it's an audit season today. So the auditor is asking for schedule of operating expenses. So I'm done with the internal reports, looking at the variances, and then taking note that this certain accounts needs a second look. So now the auditor, I receive an email from the auditor asking for schedule of operating expenses. And well, because I'm an efficient worker, I'm going to look for the closest report that I can just edit to fit the auditor's requirement. So I know my reports, and I think that the report that's closest to it is probably the trial balance variance. Okay, so I just open it up and then I run it. Here you can see an account or chart of accounts, but you'll notice that or since it's a trial balance, so all of the accounts are included in here, but the auditor just wants a schedule of operating expenses. So he just wants the expenses to be part of the report, not everything. So what I'm going to do is just click on the edit in report designer. Okay. And what it does is it opens the report template in Excel. Okay. Ready for me to edit it. Okay. Now I'm just going to close this report designer, okay, and just explain the whole bunch of what's happening in here. Okay, so as you've noticed, this is just your typical Excel application. You have your ribbons, you have your menu, you have your ribbons. But please notice that there's a new thing here, which is the solver reporting add-in. And these are the new buttons under the solver reporting add-in. So take note of some of the buttons, and I'm going to explain some of it as we go along. But the important thing to remember, when I click on edit the report designer, I can design the report using a full-blown Excel-based report writer. So again, when Scott mentioned, your basic Excel skills comes in handy if you're going to edit or create your financial statement, your operational reports, or any reports that would need charts and graphs or all the likes. So I'm going to open again the report designer. Okay, and since the auditor just wants all of the expenses to be displayed, so I'm just going to go and click on the account. Okay, and then click on my layout editor. So the layout editor, okay, first is the report designer. Let's talk about the report designer here. So for those who attended the morning session, I think you already know the report designer. But for those who haven't, the report designer is actually all the modules that you have in your data warehouse. So you can group together connected data and then form a module out of it. So a module would typically include dimensions, which these are dimensions. And under each of the dimensions are fields that you can use to create your report. Okay, so going back, I'm going to edit this report and transform this report into a schedule of expenses. Okay, so first I'm going to rename this report to schedule. Okay, okay, I'm going to rename this schedule report to schedule of operating expenses. Okay, and I'm going to filter out only accounts okay, that are expenses. I'm gonna click on layout editor. So I'll open the layout editor. So in here, you can set filters for your report. So I can click on the plus sign here, which corresponds to the row number 8 here. And I'm gonna set that the accounts just show expenses. So I'm gonna click on account category and then look at those that are under expenses. And then I can just highlight from top to bottom of the account category pertaining to expenses. And there you go. And then I can click on OK. Okay. And that's it. I mean, if I run the report, only the expenses will show. But you know, I'm going to do a little extra for this auditor. I'm going to make his life a bit easier by highlighting variances that crosses a certain limit. Okay. So I'm going to click on this variance percentage. I'm going to click on home. I'm going to go to my conditional formatting. I'm going to go to the color scales. I'm going to tell Excel to format only the cells that is greater than probably 10%. And I can put in color coding for this particular. Right. So I can click on fill and probably do an orange thing and then click on OK. And I'm just going to copy that formatting to this value. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my report designer. Okay. And just run the report. And then just check if what I've added to it is really what's being shown in the new report. So there you go. So I changed the name of the report to schedule of operating expenses. Again, it's just typing a header. It's nothing fancy. It's just typing in Excel. And I filtered out only those that are expenses. So now I can only see those that are expenses, which starts from account number 60 and so forth. And you can see that all of those fields with more than 10% variance are highlighted in orange. And this is exactly the report that I edited. So I'm just going to go back to design and then I'm going to upload this report. Okay, save this report first. Okay. Okay. Okay, there you go. So now the report that I edited in Excel is already in the tenant because I save it and I uploaded it in the tenant. So I'm done with the auditor's requirement. Now what I'm going to do is to just review some of the reports before finalizing it. So I'm going to open up in my control report, or rather in my financial report. I'm going to open up this P&L analysis monthly. Okay, this is an interesting report because it shows on top of it. Okay. On top of it are charts, graphs, and the values are in the lower portion of the report. And as discussed, when you design a report in Solver, you're using the standard Excel functionality, including all the charts and the graphs and all those conditional formatting in the body of this report. But Scott will also do a demo of Power BI. So if you want more fancier, more interactive charting and graphing, he'd be able to showcase it later. But worth noting is the drill down feature of Solver. And I think this is one of the coolest feature I've seen in Solver. For example, in this report, I'm seeing that the variance for service revenue is quite a bit high. So what I'm going to do is just click on the actual amount and then just right click through it. Then I can click on, say, general ledger detail. Okay, and it'll show me all the transactions that goes into that account. Okay, the drill down feature is actually a very useful, powerful feature in Solver because it allows you to drill down to subledgers to easily provide answers without actually running additional reports or asking for additional supporting reports. Okay, and I'm done with viewing some of the reports that I have before I finalize it and submit it to my management. So now I'm gonna present it to the management. And typically when you do a presentation, you either present it in Excel or probably copy the figures from Excel and then you paste it to PowerPoint and put some narratives on it. So, but if you're using Solver, there's this report archive, okay, where you can view, you can analyze, and you can present reports in a self-service way. So I click on, say, monthly presentation, and the reports that you're seeing here are all executed and organized in a specific order, so as a presentation. So it kind of saves your time and effort in redoing presentations in PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm just gonna click on the monthly presentation. I'm just gonna show playlist. So probably you wanted to put on the first page. You probably wanted to put like what's in this report pack. So I can start off with a table of contents. Then I can go through and go to strategic KPIs, which is the top view level of where we are going, how are we doing now, and then going on probably to more detailed revenue dashboards, OPEX and cash dashboards, and the P&L analysis monthly, the one that I've shown you. And what's good about this is the drill down feature that I've shown you earlier is inherited in this executed report. So remember, we did a drill down for the service revenue. You can still drill down in this report, even if it's already executed. So you can still click on the general ledger detail and then see all of the subledgers that goes into that account. Okay. This is the last part actually of any reporting process in any organization. I would like to highlight though that Solver is not only limited because I've shown you more on creating financial reports and designing and creating financial reports, but actually Solver can do a lot more and can be very well design and create any operational reports that you require. So for example, there's this sales analysis here. Okay, let's go back to report templates. So there's this sales analysis report here. You have your sales by salesperson. You can also do CAPEX reporting for your asset analysis. You can do reports, a lot of reports other than the financial reports. So the general rule really is you can do a report out of all the data that you have in your data warehouse. So if you have a payroll data in your data warehouse, then go do a report that pertains to payroll.
As you said, there's heaps you can do on the reporting front,
Right.
and I think you've given us a good look at some of the things. But as you know, there's a lot more as well, right?
Right.
Auto narrative, expanding upon playlists and board packs. You can do some. Ivy showed an example there, but some of our customers have built some really cool executive board packs as part of their Solver implementation with all of their branding and formatting, and all looks very cool. So yeah, great job there.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go back to my PowerPoint presentation and just wrap it up before I give the session to you, Scott. So in the demo, I've just to wrap up or give a summary of what I've shown you a while ago. I've kind of show you how to integrate data into your data warehouse. And as I said, it can be a data coming from any SQL database. It can be it can even a data out of your Excel file. It can also be a data from any ERP that's listed in the integration marketplace. So we covered integrating data automatically and on demand. I've also shown you how to generate reports, how to put comments on it, how to share the reports. We also did some editing of the existing reports. And I've also shown you how to archive reports, so to save time and effort in doing presentation for board meetings. Okay, so I'm gonna turn you over to Scott to do a demo of Solver, budgeting, and Power BI. Okay, on to you, Scott.
Thank you, Ivy. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for that, Ivy. So we've covered off automating that data integration, of course, some of the things we can do from a reporting perspective. So the next thing on the list is in and around the area of planning. As we mentioned from the outset, Solver is a corporate performance management tool. So yeah, we cover off all of that data integration and reporting, but hugely important part of this whole process is planning, budgeting, forecasting. So I want to just take you through a couple of areas in the planning area, first of all, and then as Ivy says, I'm going to dip in to show you how easy it is to connect into Power BI for those advanced visualizations. So firstly, you'll recall I'm accessing this via the browser. As Ivy did earlier, we can access the product on any browser or any device. And previously, we were spending time here where we saw all of these different report templates and folders. And you guys get the idea. You can create any type of report. Well, if I come down here into my planning section and click my input templates, looks very similar, right? Very, very similar to our reporting. The difference being on this occasion is these are all my planning templates. Okay. The key difference being with reports, we're just pulling data, of course, to analyze, but with planning, budget and forecasting, yes, we're pulling data, pulling actuals and the like, but we're also entering data in as well. So these are the input forms that I have available to me within my environment. So you'll notice I've got everything from expenses, 5-year forecast, CapEx, and I've actually got a lot more. I mean, you can see here, you can build any type of input form in the same way as you can build any type of report. And all of the data is stored back to the data warehouse. So you can see I've got a selection of forms here. One thing I will just touch on before I get into creating a workflow here is that everything within Solver, and I'm guessing a lot like the organizations that are on the call right now, a lot of your budgets and forecasts are obviously based on assumptions or budget drivers. And typically, a lot of teams have turned to Excel to give them the flexibility they need. And what happens is you ultimately end up with assumptions across and drivers across various different forms, tabs. You're having people contribute from various different departments, which can be a challenge because you get a back and forth. People trying to change things, security issues, and then somebody has to consolidate all of the budgets and forecasts into a corporate-wide or group-wide budget. So it's kind of, there are things that people love about Excel, of course, formatting, formulation, design, and then there are the whole challenges around performance, data security, integrity, etc. So with Solver, everything's centralized and everything is stored back into that data warehouse. And you set up these assumptions forms, so you can set up any type of budget drivers, as many as you like. I'll give you an example. This assumption form you're looking at now within the web environment is driving about 4 or 5 different input forms. So you'll see I've got things like travel assumptions, I've got working days per month, I've got CapEx assumptions, lots of different things. So you can set up whatever budget drivers that you want within Solver, and they will go on to feed into the various different input forms that you can see here. So if you think about how you're doing it today, maybe you're sending those Excel spreadsheets out via email, as I said earlier. Let's look at how you typically do something like that in Solver. And whilst these are examples, just remember we can create any type of form. So if you have budget and forecast forms today that you like the look of, we can replicate the look and feel of that very easily, because as you'll recall from InfoSession, everything's Excel designed, but Excel is only the design layer. We never store any data in Excel, and we certainly don't email out forms and stuff as part of the budget process. So as you come in here, you can see if I go into my workflows, I can actually set up a new workflow. So this could be, for instance, this could be annual budget, a bit late, I know, but annual budget 2021. As the budget manager setting up this workflow, you determine when you want this process to start and when you want it to finish. So you might say, I need this to kick off on the 6th of September, and everyone has to have it all done, closed off by the 30th. And then maybe you want to do an optional review and approve. So you might say, that's great. When they get submitted, I want Archie to approve, to review it. And once he's done the back and forth, when he's happy with everything, I then want it to go on to Bud for approval. And you can set up as many workflows as you want. So this particular workflow, it could be just our expenses budget, right? Keep it really easy. Now, one of the things with the data integration that we saw earlier is you can set up various different security permissions. So if you're sharing a report, whoever receives the report only sees the information they're supposed to see. Well, that same thing applies to when you're setting up the workflow. For instance, once you create this workflow, you might have certain people that can only enter budget and forecast information for a specific entity or department, right? Maybe they enter for more than one department, at which point you want to let them decide when they get the workflow, they can select, but they will only be able to select the departments of which they have permission to enter information, budget information for. Or you can simply just fix it and keep it really simple and say, right, don't change anything. You're only entering for the parameters that we provided. You then go on here and you can schedule the workflow based on role, or you could do it by user. Okay, and then you publish. Once you publish that, what will happen, assuming you configure it this way, is Solver will send out an email to the recipients on the 6th of September to say, hey, you've got a new assignment. You need to complete this assignment, okay? So if we then switch from a budget manager to a contributor, I get that email, I click the link, it prompts me to enter in my Solver login credentials. Worth pointing out as well that we do integrate with Azure Active Directory. So you can use the same Microsoft credentials if that's what you're doing today. You can use those to log into Solver. So I would log back in as a contributor and I would get into my assignments. And if I was just contributing, I'd only see the home and assignment section. So we even strip the menu back so that it's really easy for people. So I go into my assignments and I go, oh yeah, I've got some assignments. Now I'm playing every role in this environment. So I've got assignments that are in progress, some that need approval, some completed. Obviously, if this was just a contributor, they would just have that new assignment, that one assignment pop up. So I can see I've got my expenses, which I've actually already started, my expenses assignment here. So I'm going to open it up. And you can see I have here a very straightforward input form. These can be as complex as you like, but this is a really straightforward one for the sake of time, which is going to allow me to enter in my expenses budget. You'll notice they haven't let me change the parameters. And I have a couple of options. I can save data. People are probably not going to complete their budget in one sitting, so we give them their option to save the data back to the data warehouse and come back later to finish. Okay, that means it moves to its in progress stage. Once they complete the assignment, that closes the assignment off. And I'll talk a little bit about what happens in a moment from a complete assignment perspective. So as I'm working through this, I have the option to expand this within my web environment to give myself a little bit more real estate. And if I want, I can start coming in here and I can start entering in budget info. Might say, yeah, you know what, it's probably going to be $1,000 a month for that. Drag it across, very good. I also have some actual information coming in here as well, because as you'll recall from InfoSession, we're automating the data integration. So data is going to flow through wherever we have actuals. So you'll notice in this demo environment, I'm getting actuals up to September. So as I'm walking through this, when I come down to, as I go through it, I come down to travel. Terrible example right now, I know, so forgive me. But if I come into travel, you'll notice I have even more options. Now, as I look through this, because we're bringing your data in, we can also bring in as much historical data as you want as well. So now I'm doing my planning for the next year for travel, and I can see my last 2 years worth of historical information. And importantly, I can see the trend. So here under travel, I might want to create as much line item detail. I can create as much line item detail as I want. Again, it's a terrible example right now, but bear with me. So I could say this is a Singapore event. And in January, it's probably going to be a 12,000 investment. And then we got another one, all being well, August, that's a bit more expensive, bigger place. And then when I come down here to my vanilla event, maybe you're going to be doing an event every month or something. So at this point, you could say, well, you know what? I'm probably going to budget 22,000 for the year. But this time, I want you to have a look at 2020's actuals. I want you to look at the trend, and I want you to spread the 22,000 based on the trend line that we had in 2020. But maybe I want to offset it. Maybe I want to offset it by offset January, February, March. Maybe something was going on, was still going on with COVID, and I wanted to postpone them. So I want to offset 3 months. Well, you can do that. You can also increase it by a percentage or a number of units, right? So you can start to build this up, or you could even create your own distribution rule, so your own trend distribution. Or you could simply just come in and say, you know what, take it, just spread it across that 12-month period. And you'll notice now it's spread across that line, and it's rolled up at January, and it's also rolled up in August. So as someone is reviewing this, these red indicators tell me that there is underlying line item detail below this rolled up number at the GL level. And then as I come in here, the contributor can put unlimited line item commentary as well. Larger venue, extra budget required, right? And that's date, user date and timestamp for audit purposes. So now my red indicator is telling me, yep, underlying detail, and my red indicator here is telling me that there is actually commentary I need to look at as well. So you can start to see how this, and these are just some examples. You can do this in a variety of different ways. And as I'm working through it, not only can I do line item commentary, I can also build line item comments into the actual form. So I can do department commentary as well. And worth pointing out that you can add comments to your reports as well, so that people can comment on management reports or whatever that may be. But also, I'm going to shrink my screen a bit, we have this full activity log. So if you've ever been through a full-on budget and forecast process, which I'm sure a lot of you have, the back and forth on email can be a challenge to keep track of, especially if you need to refer back to something from a year or two ago. Everything here is stored in the data warehouse and is auditable. So you can create any, so submitting, note, travel, event, budget, increase, whatever it may be, right? So you can add this in, and then as you add it in, when I complete this assignment, what will happen is, and I can search these comments, by the way, so if they do get out of hand, if there's a real back and forth, you can search based on keywords or what status the budget was in. So it's easy to get to them. But when I complete this assignment, what's going to happen is it will automatically send an email to the reviewer, and the reviewer will go, great, Scott's completed his assignment. Now I'm going to review it. They'll click the link. It will take them into the assignment. They can review. If you've given them the right, they can make changes if need be. Or they might just want to add some comments, not happy with this, need to adjust that, don't approve the additional $2,000, make the changes, resubmit, reject. At that point, I get an email back saying, hey, your budget got rejected. And at that point, I can go back in because the assignment's been reopened, make my changes, resubmit, complete the assignment. The reviewer gets the notification by email and also via the portal. They can approve it. They can give it the A-OK, and then it will go next. It will go on to the next person in the cycle for approval. So you can see how this whole process is centralized, workflowed, it's auditable. And if you have multiple people working on a budget or forecast, or if you're in a position right now where finance are owning a lot of it, and maybe you want to put some ownership more onto departments and managers' heads, then this is the kind of a scenario that you would need to do that. So you can see I've done a lot there, and that's really just a simple example. I mean, I'm sure Ivy and the team would all love to look at how you're doing things now and show you potentially some similar examples. But if I go back to a budget manager situation now, what I can do, and I'll leave without saving, is I can get a snapshot in time, in real time at any point. So I can say, right, how are we doing with this assignment? Show me. Okay, great. So I know that we've got, these are in progress still. Bud's still in progress with his. I know Scott's got some awaiting, Archie's got some awaiting approval and some completed. And I can even filter it as well. So I could say, show me where everyone's at with the personnel budgets. Show me where everyone's at with CapEx. Show me based on user. Show me based on status, right? And there's going to be alert notifications back and forth in regards to where these assignments are at and when they're coming up to the deadline and all that kind of cool stuff that you would expect. Okay, so we've just scratched the surface really on planning. There is so much you can do here. Have it all, as I say, centralized within this environment. And then as you gather, as you're putting this information in, just going to dip into reports for a second, because what it means is you can do as much what-if analysis and scenario planning as you like, because you can store as many versions of a budget or forecast into Solver. That's the one thing that's really challenging if you're doing that in Excel today. It's a nightmare. Well, you can store unlimited versions into Solver. And not only that, once you've got them in there, as I say, you can do all of your modeling. So one of the things you can do is set up different scenarios. So you can go into your reports and you say, right, I want to run my profit and loss. I'm going to run it for this entity. I'm going to run it for the US entity. Yeah, I'm going to run it for this period. And you know what? I've set up my scenarios. So I'm going to run it based on my realistic case, my best case, my worst case. Show me how that affects my numbers for the year. And that's just one way of doing it. The other way is you can do it on the fly. Using a modeling form within Solver, you can say, hey, what happens if my revenue increases by 10%? I put 3 extra salespeople on. I put 1 admin person on. My rent goes up. What does that look like? So you can do all that modeling on the fly and all of that reforecasting. It's a big area for us in the last 18 months. People need to reforecast, and it's not easy to do if you have multiple contributors using native Excel. It becomes very easy to consolidate budgets and reforecast with something like Solver. Okay, that's just an idea from a planning perspective. I know we're going to take some questions at the end. Lots you could do here. As I say, more than happy at Ivy and her team to drill down on certain requirements and show you specific things for your organization. Because as I say, it is a huge area. But in the interest of time, I know we want to cover off the Power BI section. So I'm going to just park that for the time being. And I'm just going to move on to close out with the Power BI integration, if that's okay with everyone. So you've seen formatted financial and operational reporting within Solver. You can do things like static dashboarding and graphing, etc., all within the Solver environment. Okay, so this is a very simple one that I can do. You can do this within Solver. But what we do is we have a lot of customers that want to move on to more advanced visualizations and dashboarding. A lot of our customers, for instance, have a big screen on their distribution floor that has a constantly updating Power BI dashboard. The challenge always is with that is, well, firstly, Power BI is one of the best visualization tools on the market. But one of the challenges with that is that there's a lot of data modeling involved, a lot of knowledge that you need to do just to get to the stage where your data is in there, you have meaningful data relationships, where you can build out your dashboards. Well, as we said, formatted financial operational reporting Solver advanced visualizations into Power BI. So this is Power BI that you're looking at right now. And anyone that's had experience with this, very cost-effective a solution. But getting the data in here, as I say, is a challenge, right? You've got to know what you're doing. A lot of data modeling, right? Managing those data sets. With Solver, all the hard work has been done up front because all of your data is residing here in a structured manner based on the outputs that you need. So all of those relationships exist within this foundation of Solver. All of your finance information, potentially your payroll, your CRM, your planning information, it's all here, right? So if you want to expose that to Power BI, all you need to do is go into our Power BI API here at the bottom, enable it. You can decide what modules within your data warehouse you want to expose. You might say, yep, I want to expose AP, I want to expose APR, payroll, CRM. All the foundation is there for you. At this point, you just hit save, which enables it. And then as you go into this cog, you'll see it gives you a URL and a secure access token. One-click copy the URL into Power BI, get data. This is the free Power BI designer tool that I'm using. And you'll notice if I go into other, you'll see we have our certified Solver connector coming up in Power BI. Yeah, I hit connect. I paste in my URL. And then at this point, it's going to ask me for a secure access token. I go back in here, one click, click that over, paste in. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to connect the Solver data warehouse with all of your enterprise information, all of your planning information. We're going to connect it to Power BI. And now you'll see that all of the existing relationships that we've set up are here available to you. So you can say, right, dimension account, yeah, definitely bringing that in. Gives me a preview, yeah, I'll bring that in. And in the interest of time, I'll just bring 2 in. And then you can go ahead and load that data into Power BI. That's just going to do its thing. And when the data comes across, it's going to be very familiar to you because the structure is going to be exactly the same as what you set up within the data warehouse. Now, this is Power BI Designer, which is free. But if you're sharing Power BI dashboards via the web environment, you'll need a Power BI Pro license. Very cost effective, but you will need one. And what you can do now with that is that will update, I think, at least 8 times per day, 4 or 8 times per day. So again, your data is automated, it's being updated. So you can come in now and you can expand out. You've got all your relationships and you can say, right, yeah, bring my account in. I'm going to build out this dashboard and I'm going to bring in my account type, etc., etc. And you can start building out a dashboard. You haven't got to do any of that data modeling. Most people can build a simple dashboard or very quickly can learn how to build a simple dashboard. This makes it a lot easier and it is an added benefit of that whole Microsoft-centric solver narrative. Just to give you an idea, here's one that we actually built off of the data warehouse. It's a financial analysis dashboard. So all of the data, all of the logic is coming from solver into you just using Power BI as that visualization layer. But to show that integration, as you're looking through this, right, as you're looking through different aspects of your organization, whether it's budgets, forecasts, whatever it may be, you can even link back from Power BI into the budget and forecast forms within Solver and make any changes if you want to, assuming you have the security. So you kind of see how this best of everything comes into play. A central location for all your data, Excel as a design layer for your formatted reports, Solver for all your planning, Power BI filtering all that information for advanced visualization purposes. And one of the things that you can do off the back of that is build out these cash flow simulations, sales simulations. You know, all the data, all the logic's coming out of Solver. You're just using this as the visualization layer. So you could say, right, 30% increase in product, that's an optimistic year, 30% increase in product revenue, you know, 40% increase in service revenue, right? What's going to have cost of sales is going to go up, right? How's this affecting everything? And you can see this effect in real time, right? And this could be a sales simulation, right? We have these dashboards on our website. They're fully interactive. IB's team can point you to them and you can go in and do this kind of modeling yourselves using this demo data. Okay, I want to work on, you know, 2022. So lots of things that you can do. And as I say, we're only scratching the surface in terms of what we can do here. But the thing to bear in mind here with Solver is ultimately this is designed to be self-service. So once we've done that initial setup for you, you're not going to have to call any IB's team or ourselves every time you want to change. We'll put you in a position where you can control your environment yourselves, whether that's creating your own reports, editing reports, forms, etc. The idea is this is self-service. Yes, there is work up front, but typically what we can do is come up with a phased approach in terms of what you want to do. So don't look at this and think, hey, it's all or nothing. There might be some people on the call that are thinking, hey, I like the reporting part, but the other stuff's a little bit too much for me right now. No problem. We can initially do that as a phase 1 and then look to roll out planning as a phase 2 or never, right? It's entirely up to you. You just take aspects of the solution that you need. And the same applies to what data you integrate with as well. So lots of things there to consider. I've just looked at the clock and noticed that I think we're getting close to our scheduled time. So I'm going to wrap up at that point, and pass it back to Ivy.
Probably want to speak about this, Scott. This is the Power BI. Yeah.
The elusive slide. Yeah.
Right.
It's making an appearance. Yeah, I think we could, you know, I'm joking, of course. I think we covered a lot of that. You can see here that what the slide is doing basically is saying, hey, what can we do in Solver and what can we do in Power BI? And look, I'm not going to read out each section of that. but I'm sure the team will make these slides available to you if of interest. But the key takeaway is really that Solver, data integration, Solver, formatted reporting, financial and operational, planning, all Solver. You want to build out advanced visualizations and dashboarding? Then you don't have to, but you can. And you can do it very easily via that connector. Okay? Gives you all the options. It's good to have options. And the product gives you a number of options to consider as part of the rollout. Thank you, Ivy.
Okay, so that's the last slide for the demo of Power BI and budgeting. Now we're opening the floor. We're opening the session to Q&A. Feel free to ask anything.
Yes.
Jason?
Thank you, Ma'am Ivy and Sir Scott. As a reminder, you can still submit your questions through chat box. So our first question is, does Solver have report templates?
Yeah, there is a standard report templates for general ledger and general ledger details. But what's tricky in here is that since we will be designing the data warehouse, so there is really no standard templates for the design that you have in mind. But what we can do is to guide you through how to do this report template and start from there.
Yeah, we'll typically work with you to. There'll be a handful of reports, no doubt, that a customer requires from day one. So typically with Ivy and the team, we'll factor in the 4 or 5 reports that you need for go live, and we'll do them as part of the rollout, and then we'll put you in a position where you can go ahead and create your own moving forward, which is the ultimate goal.
Yep. That's what exactly is happening. When we do contracts and proposal, we include a certain number of reports on it so that it will make them start the report designing and then coach them on how to do it.
Okay. We have another question from Miss Christine. Are the reports designed in the Philtax setting already?
Phil tax, you mean Philippine taxation? Okay, this is an interesting
Yes,
question. We have a client. We have a Solver client who used Solver for BIR audit. So to answer the question, again, as long as those information comes into your data or goes into your data warehouse, we can create any report out of it. So if it's a BIR requirement, then we can just identify what are those information that we need and put it in the data warehouse, and then we can report. We can make a report out of it. So yes, it's even for hybrid and for the data warehouse. It's available. It's supported. Philippine taxation is supported.
A question from Crystal. What version of Power BI works with Solver?
Oh, I think Scott can answer this.
Yeah, sure. So what I was using earlier was Power BI Designer, which is the free version. But if you do want to share reports, to share dashboards via Power BI, you will need Power BI Pro to do that. So yeah, keep that in mind. I don't think it's a hugely expensive cost associated, but there is a cost associated with Power BI Pro.
Okay.
Okay, another question from Sir Joshua Damaso. How long does it take to implement Solver?
Oh, okay. So it actually depends on the requirement. If it's just like a reporting, then probably it'll be faster than reporting plus budgeting. So we cannot really say a standard number of days in terms of implementation.
Yeah, you're right. It's because there's so much you can do here. If you turn around and say that you're just looking for your standard financial reporting, and you're connecting in with GP or NAV, very quick, right?
Yeah,
very quick.
Yeah.
But if you turn around and say,
the one that we did for hybrid reporting, we can, because it reports out of the live reporting, then we can deploy Solver in like 3 days. But if we're talking about data warehouse, we have to define the requirement first before we can settle on the number of implementation Mondays it requires for us to put it together.
Yeah, there's a lot in there to consider. As I said, some customers a few days, some customers it could be a few weeks or a few months, depending on what you're looking at. So yeah, worth having a chat about what exactly you're looking at.
Okay, next question is, will subscription fee include the training to use Solver?
Okay, so
So-
the subscription, yeah. So I think we'll answer this, Scott.
Yeah, please.
When we do proposal, it includes training, it includes implementation services on it. So all of the services is covered, not in the subscription fee. It's on top of the subscription fee, but it's going to be an investment proposal that covers both the
Maybe let me
subscription
add
fee
also.
and services fee. Yes, Maurice.
Yeah, when we talk about the subscription fee on the license, yeah, it's annual, but you can also do subscription on the services. So we call it service maintenance plan after the implementation. Let's say you want some assistance on support on creating reports or budget inputs, or you send a new report requirement that you can consume through that subscription of services that we call service maintenance plan. Thank you.
A good point, Maurice. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
we have last question here. Since it's a cloud solution, is my data secured?
Okay. I think, Scott, this is for you.
There's Scott.
Yeah, sure. So from a data perspective, the solution is hosted on Microsoft Azure. So we follow all of the security and disaster recovery processes that you would expect. We are also SOC 2 compliant, which is a really important standard from a governance and compliance perspective. And we can I know there's a security FAQ document which goes into detail in terms of all of the things that we do from a security, data encryption, disaster recovery, etc. So there is a document that we can make available. So Jason, if you want to make a note of who asked that question, maybe send them over that FAQ document, which will answer it in a lot more detail. But the short answer is absolutely, and SOC 2 compliance. Those are that's the takeaway.
I think our speakers have already cleared up all your inquiries. Thank you all for participating with us. May I call on Miss Ivy and Sir Scott again to wrap up this event?
Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm just going to turn on my video again. Okay, so if there are no more questions, or if you have any questions in mind, you can reach us through marketing@infosoft.com.ph, or you can email any product-related inquiries to Maurice Perdon or to the marketing team. And you can also call us 886-8080, check our website, and probably you can follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for company updates, for any webinars. And you can also follow us on YouTube, because the webinars that we've conducted are all stored in our YouTube channel. Okay, so this is the last slide. So again, we would like, in behalf of Infosoft, we would like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And we're also inviting you in advance for our customer day this coming November. Probably it's going to be virtual because pandemic. So, but we'll keep you posted on it. Okay, and we also would like to thank Mr. Scott Bennett. Hey, Scott.
I just thank you everyone for taking some time out for the session. Thanks to Infosoft for allowing us to play a part. Salamat, everybody. Hope to speak to everyone in the future. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.